What is up, everybody? I hope you're having a fantastic day. And if you're like me, you are against animal cruelty. And one of the things that I've always been a little concerned about is that when I was growing up eating meat, is that I never thought about the cruelty behind the process. I never thought about the slaughter. I never thought about the farming. I only thought about, wow, this tastes good or this is affordable. And here we are in the future where we have companies producing meat without slaughter, without farming, but rather growing meat from a tiny cell, a pea-sized biopsy, and able to feed people with it. And that is exactly what I'm going to be talking about today. This article coming from Now, powered by Northrop Grumman, says cultured meat, how to make a chicken nugget without a chicken. A little bit misleading because they do need a pea-sized biopsy or some biopsy of cells as like starter material for the process of the growth. But let's get into it. If chicken or beef is grown in a laboratory, is it still considered meat? A food startup in San Francisco called Just has created the first slaughter-free chicken nugget grown from the cells of a chicken feather. All right, and this is really fascinating because the chicken that it came from is still alive, still free as it says, and taste testers from the BBC and Fast Company agree that it tastes like chicken. All right, now if you had the option to cause animal suffering through the slaughter process to get meat, or buy clean meat or cultured meat without any of the suffering and still have the taste of meat, which one would you do? For me, it's a no-brainer. I would choose clean meat and cultured meat every day. So let's get into this real quick because there are a lot of concerns about cultured meat. How is it going to be introduced into the market? How are consumers going to react to it? What's it going to be called? How is it going to be labeled? So many things. But thankfully, there are people having these discussions right now. So cultured or cell cultured meat is also referred to as lab-grown meat, clean meat, in vitro meat, Science reported that the definition of meat was discussed at an FDA meeting in July 2018 to discuss safety and regulations. Some groups, such as U.S. Cattlemen's Association, said the term, quote, meat is being misused. And for the cattle industry, they admittedly missed out on a huge opportunity to innovate. They could have been at the forefront of clean meat technology, yet startup companies, people who are not farmers, are taking this upon themselves to create these products. So getting into the article again, meat scientists do not have enough information about cultured tissue to determine whether it should be called meat or how it should be regulated, says Rhonda Miller, a meat scientist at Texas A&M University in College Station, speaking on behalf of the American Meat Science Association. So I think that, her concerns are a bit valid, is that, there's not enough information about it yet, but calling it meat, it seems like the least of those concerns. All right. There's actually even people who are looking to say that plant-based milks and plant-based cheeses cannot be called milk and cheese because they do not come from cow's milk or goat's milk or from an animal. And this is a really weird attempt to stifle innovation from the animal agriculture industry. And rather than focusing on like collaboration, like groups like Tyson is doing, they're trying to stop this process by messing with the labeling. All right, but this is not a new tactic. Many years ago, in the 30s and 40s and 50s, there was a product that came out called oleomargarine, or just margarine as like a butter substitute. And you would not believe how many states passed laws regulating oleomargarine out of production because it competed with the butter industry. All right, you can look that up. I'm going to do a whole entire well done out series on this because I find it so fascinating that rather than buying out innovation or like being really supportive and collaborative on this process, they're trying everything they possibly can to shut it down. And it makes sense, from a survival standpoint in the economic system. But if they would just buy out these companies at right at the beginning, they can make profits on it for years to come. So I don't know. I'm not in those conversations, so I don't know what's going on behind closed doors there. But let's go into some of the questions that Rhonda raised. And I think they're very interesting questions. Does meat spoil at the same rate as conventional meat? Does it allow the same growth of potentially harmful microbes? Is its shelf life the same? Does it have the same nutritional qualities? Well, number one, it is grown in a lab, so it is already going to be infinitely cleaner than animals raised basically in their own feces in a feedlot. All right, chickens, pigs, cows, they spend a lot of their time in their own filth, and these animals who are then turned into meat are grown in disgusting areas. So right off the bat, you have a massive advantage of having a clean product. It's a sterile lab, sterile environment. Getting into the does it spoil at the same rate? I don't know. I mean, I guess it's a valid concern, but I'm sure they can engineer it where it will spoil slower than conventional meat. Does it allow for the same growth of harmful microbes? I mean, I don't know. Probably. I'm not too knowledgeable about that. I think it's an interesting question. Is its shelf life the same? Probably, because it's the same exact product. It's muscle protein, mixed with fat protein, mixed with fat cells. Does it have the same nutritional qualities? This is a really fascinating one because as this clean meat technology develops, you'll actually be able to engineer it for nutritional qualities. You won't have to rely on the breed of the animal or the certain I guess it would be breed of the animal, because there are different types of cows, different types of chickens. So you can actually grow the clean meat to have its whatever nutritional profile you want, and it can even be, I would imagine, customized for the individual that is choosing it. If someone is choosing kind of a low-fat diet, they can get one that is more muscle with high protein. If they're going for more fat, vice versa, etc. So clean meat allows that much easier than traditional farming practices. Getting into here, the arguments just aren't about semantics. The way we define meat helps determine regulation and how soon this new food can be sold to consumers. I'm not going to go into here too much about the FDA and the regulatory processes, but I will talk about really briefly some background about how clean meat came to existence. So people doing similar work in 2013, a Dutch scientist created a lab-grown hamburger, which unfortunately cost about $300,000, according to the BBC. But now just in a handful of other companies, Future Meat Technologies, Impossible Foods, Beyond Meat, to name a few, are seeking to lower the cost of cultured meat by, for example, searching for cheaper ingredients to feed the meat cells. All right, so they are in the planning stages. It's just like at the very beginning of cell phone technology. A cell phone cost, $10,000 or whatever, and now you can pick up a phone for $10 at CVS or whatever store, like a prepaid phone. So we're going to see a rapid decrease in price over time if the technology works out and they're able to do it at scale, which I'm very hopeful that it will. So you got the cost taken care of. As the technology increases, and as the technology advances, they're going to come up with better ways to produce it and lower the cost. Maybe it'll get some government subsidies like current meat and dairy does, which will help lower the cost even more. And then with regards to the taste, as you heard earlier, it tastes exactly like chicken. It's going to taste like whatever animal you're used to eating because it is that exact animal. The chicken comes from a chicken cell, the pig comes from a pig cell, the cow, the beef comes from beef cells. So I'm really excited about it. And there are some unexpected advocates for cultured meat. So the UN Environment awarded the Champions of the Earth Award to cultured meat companies Impossible Foods and Beyond Meat in September 2018 for their contributions towards sustainable development goals. The organization reports that a University of Michigan research study found that the Beyond Burger requires 99% less water. All right, that alone is massive. All right, it requires 99% less water and 93% less land to produce than a conventional beef hamburger. Producing the burger generated 90% fewer greenhouse gas emissions and used 46% less energy than its beef equivalent. Those are massive statistics. Like if you came out and said, hey, we have this new cell phone that is 90% better than your current cell phone at the same price, you're going to go to buy that cell phone. I don't know. It's really exciting, not to mention the lack of animal suffering that will occur as a result of this. because if you watch my videos, you know there are 9 billion animals being raised and killed for food, and that is 9 billion individual beings suffering and who can feel pain and not having to die for their bodies anymore. We're now going to be able to, have a chicken nugget with the chicken that it came from, just like Just. We're able to, have a pulled pork sandwich with the pig that it came from. And it's just really exciting, But anyways, let me know what you think about this. Are you excited for clean meat? What kind of questions do you have about this that we haven't talked about? Leave them in the comments. You can go over to minds.com and create an account. It's an alternative to Facebook and Twitter. I'm also on Facebook and Twitter. It's at Hendrickson Media, on Twitter at Hendrickson News. And thank you so much for watching. Hope you have an incredible day wherever you are. And please subscribe for more awesome videos. See ya.